So my audience is typically a lot of long distance
Yeah.
ultra endurance runners. And my personal opinion, and I would like to know kind of what you think also on this topic, is that of course ultra endurance is a running sport. So you would assume it tracks very closely to running. But I find that sometimes these intensity zones, and by extension, also
Mm,
these metrics like ATL and CTL or fatigue
mm,
and fitness, different tools use different kind of terminology for this, don't account for for example, the muscle breakdown that occurs during
yeah.
long runs, right? Like you can and it happened to me kind of yesterday, like you're out for 6, 7 hours of course, at
Mm,
an easy intensity because maybe you're doing back to back long runs. It's
yeah.
all in zone one, and your watch will tell you, yeah, it's like 15 hours recovery or 18 hours of
Yeah.
recovery time. And it doesn't account for that muscular breakdown. So this is why I think it fits somewhere in the middle.
Mm.
For people doing long endurance efforts, maybe even in the Ironman or Ironman Plus area, like how would you go around prescribing intensity there? Would it also be a factor of RPE, or do you have some maybe objective metrics you can point towards?
That is a very good question. When it comes to ultra endurance, I think here or during very long sessions, heart rate might not be the best tool, or it may even stay very low and in zone one, right? But you're working for several hours, so the actual stress response is very high, but maybe systemically, like when it comes to like the autonomic nervous system interactions, and also the tendon and muscle damage, glycogen depletion, etc. So you can, based on intensity, be doing an easy or zone one session or a green zone session, but because of the duration, it's actually a hard session. And I remember this was something my dad used to tell me when I was doing my long runs. They were not 6 7 hours, but they were maybe 2 hours, and that was a long run for me. But at a on a road, or maybe at a more specific or little bit higher pace. But anyways, it was a long session for me, even if the intensity was low. So and it was costly when it came to recovery demand, and this is because of these things that you're mentioning, both the muscular demand, the glycogen depletion, systemic stress, and more. Um, so I think instead of just thinking of intensity when in ultra endurance events, you really need to be more aware of the total load, the intensity times duration, um, and also total time on feet without the rest periods, and focusing more on everything around the nutrition and the sleep, and maybe quantifying, for example, HRV, heart rate variability, and resting heart rate to objectively assess your autonomic nervous system balance, the interaction between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. When you're very fatigued, your HRV will go down because you have a more sympathetic activation, like the fight or flight response. You're more stressed internally, higher cortisol levels, um, different stress hormones that are activated during this fatigue or slightly overtrained, overreached state. So I think that in ultra endurance sports, you have to look outside of the intensity by itself and really more look at the total volume and try to track parameters of readiness, muscle soreness, more subjective fatigue, feeling, and maybe combine that with these objective recovery indices